Hi guys, we are Team 17 for the Caterpillar Supply Chain Case Competition. My name is Jacob and I'm a junior.
My name's Courtney and I'm a senior.
My name is Alex and I'm a senior.
My name is Rhea, I'm a junior.
And my name's Elena and I'm also a senior.
So to run through the agenda real quick, first I'm going to go over the introduction to the case, and then the single tier network, the multi-tier network, the hybrid network, the model formulation, the recommendation, the ripple effect, and then I'll finish up with the closing thoughts. So to introduce the company here, a little overview of the company is that it is 90 years old and has 300 operations in 40 countries. CAT Logistics provides manufacturing expertise, product and aftermarket parts distribution, and after-sales service support, and has over 700,000 active aftermarket parts. So the problem at hand here is that CAT wants to know which network design will best suit their dealer supply chain needs, and then also the benefits and costs of each dealer network, and then any associated risks for CAT. The challenge to solve here is to determine which model fits best for CAT's dealers and to inspect each model using qualitative research, and finally analyze the company data to discover the most cost-effective model. So going over the single tier model here, this means that all stores would order directly from a Caterpillar parts distribution center, and with this model it consists of the distribution center and then also multiple dealer warehouses. So in terms of the benefits of this, it's less technical, which is easier to train people to adapt to the system, as well as it can also be a drawback, but I'll talk about that later. It's a direct supplier to OEMs, which is a single level of communication that is absolutely direct, and then this also works very well with smaller companies. In terms of the drawbacks, like I said earlier, less technical can also be a drawback because it's harder to train people to adapt to the system, because sometimes companies want to be a little more technical and go in that direction, and that might not fit their needs. Also, there's more supply chain risk because it's harder to mitigate risks when there's only one tier, and you sometimes cannot recognize those issues many tiers down with only a single tier. And then finally, another drawback is coordination on only one tier may not be efficient enough to ramp up production. There's several scenarios in where a single tier would be effective. This is for more smaller companies, and this is mainly with car manufacturers and dealerships. These businesses are typically smaller and more simplified, and they fit the mold of this model. A second scenario would be that companies that still rely on fax and telephone to do business. These are simplistic companies that aren't technologically advanced and may rely more on real-time communication than electronic communication. And then finally, a third scenario is automotive companies such as Sensata Technologies. It's very common in the automotive industry, and it just makes it easier to operate within that industry.
And now going into multi-tier systems, here we have a depiction of this system. A multi-tier system is a distribution system in which there is one dealer warehouse or the hub in which orders from the CAT distribution center, and all the other dealer warehouses order replenishments from this main dealer. And then going into the benefits and drawbacks, there are several that come along with this framework. The benefits include having a reduced risk of shortages, lower lead times, and improved forecasting as long as communication is effective across the supply chain. Along with this comes shorter planning cycles, increased responsiveness to customer demand. And regarding the supply chain cost, this model may reduce transportation, inventory, and holding costs that come along with this system and having no cross-docking fees. Customer service may also be improved due to these shorter lead times and direct shipments to the spokes. However, along with these benefits comes some drawbacks. These include having a more complex supply chain and reduced visibility and control. Because of this, the company must make sure to map out their supply chain in order to identify critical links between the tiers. IT costs may also increase due to the need for effective communication across the supply chain. Additionally, costs would rise due to put away and pick, pack, and ship costs. The companies or scenarios for which this model works best for are larger and receive orders from various locations and can implement a hub with a centralized location. These companies may also have unpredictable ordering patterns. And now Rhea will go into the hybrid network model.
The hybrid network model basically combines the hub and spoke and single tier model. For our model, we designated Hub A as a hub, B through H as sub-warehouses, and I through P as single tiers. The benefits of using a hybrid network is that the model combines the best of lean and agile systems. A big benefit is that it is very flexible for locations and demand, so that can provide better customer service. It also allows for strategically optimizing certain parts of the supply chain and keeping things confidential if needed. Furthermore, this model can take multiple dealer hubs' needs into account. However, with the hybrid model, there's a lot of high costs of management as it increases facilities and training for the IT. It also requires the organization to be very organized with their IT and ensure that all the hubs and sub-warehouses are using the same systems. Hybrid models work best for companies that have multiple products and locations that vary in demand. This way, the hubs and single tiers can be placed based on demand throughout the different locations. A single tier can be used for locations with lower demand and hubs for locations with higher demand. It's also great for companies that have an e-commerce and brick and mortar sectors. Next, I'll pass it off to Elena to talk about the approach we're using.
Next, I'd like to dive into our quantitative analysis. So we decided to use risk pooling. So risk pooling is where you're reducing variability when you can aggregate demand, and this leads to decreased costs. So how we measured variability is we manipulated the safety stock equation, and this equation is that your z-score times the square root of your lead time times the standard deviation of demand times the holding cost. So we used this to determine where we would have the least amount of cost, and I'll show you the numbers within the next few slides to prove that this works. So there's a lot of benefits to using this model. It represents each warehouse's demand independently and also considers holding costs and lead times and ensures a specific service level. So before I show you the Excel, I want to show you and explain our assumptions. So all of the cross-docking, put-away costs, and pick, pack, ship costs are per part. And then when we were going through our model, we had to decide which warehouses would be hub and spoke for the multi-tier and hybrid models. So we decided to use A as our hub in both scenarios. And then for multi-tier, B through P would be considered warehouses. And then for the hybrid model, B through H would be considered spokes of the hub, which was A. And then I through P are single-tier warehouses. And then here are the equations that we used that were also presented in the case. And then moving forward, here's our Excel model. So across the top, we have A through P listed out. These are all our warehouses. And then on the left, we see warehouses, service level, Z value, the lead time of the warehouse versus the lead time of the sub-warehouse or retailer is how our equation would use it. And then we found monthly total demand, average demand, the standard deviation of that demand, and then the variance, the number of parts, and holding costs. So we used all of these to compute the safety stock cost for single tier, multi-tier, and hybrid. That is called out to you in yellow. And if you see over on the right in the sum column, you see that multi-tier has the lowest costs at $929.16. And then we went in and to find our total cost, added in cross-docking, put away, and then pick, pack, ship costs. And after we did that, we you can see in black our total costs. And the grand total for costs, multi-tier again was the lowest at $12,723.89. And with that, I will pass it on to Alex to talk about our recommendations.
Alright, so after conducting both our research and then also creating our Excel model, our team's final recommendation for this particular Caterpillar dealer is the hub and spoke network design. We figured that the multi-tier system achieves the lowest costs, as is demonstrated in our Excel model, which Elena just covered. Furthermore, multi-tier is more responsive due to the direct shipments between the hub and spokes, which results in a shorter planning period and shorter lead times as well. Lastly, multi-tier achieves the fluid movement of products throughout the supply chain due to less shortages, shorter planning cycles, and improved forecasting. This being said, our team acknowledges that each Caterpillar dealer has different needs. So we've made our Excel model flexible to adjust for these differences and provide a customized solution to each dealer's network. And then to cover the ripple effects on Caterpillar, our team recognizes that Caterpillar will be affected by our recommendations to their dealers. First, Caterpillar will incur costs by investing in ways to improve their communication throughout the entire downstream supply chain, as this will, as it is very important in a multi-tier system for there to be high communication levels. Next, training will be needed to understand each of the 3 network designs so that Caterpillar employees can work effectively with the dealers. Lastly, by allowing its dealers to customize, Caterpillar is introducing more complexity within itself. This increased complexity may impact not only human capital, but also distribution routes, pick, pack, ship processes, cross-docking processes. It could also impact certain performance metrics, especially any that attempt to generalize all of the dealers together since they will no longer be uniform. And that concludes our presentation. Please contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.